Good evening, Rotorua. Tonight on City News. Tūhorangi commemorate Tarawera eruption. Air New Zealand not cancelling flights at the moment. And Rotorua entertains wants more male participation. Those stories and more coming up next on City News. Last week, the 125th anniversary of the Mount Tarawera eruption saw Te Arawa journey to the top of the mountain to mourn the loss of their ancestors and to plan for the future. Ngāti Rangitihi Trust Chairman Ken Rōriti said about 200 people from Te Arawa whānui were taken to the top of the mountain to commemorate the occasion. Tūhorangi also commemorated the eruption with a significant ceremony at Lake Tarawera Landing. Elders gathered for the unveiling of a toka or stone and a ceremony marking the return of the landing area and park to the Tūhorangi people. Elder Pareni Mikaere says it's a wonderful occasion.
This particular part here of our picnic area, it's going to be really awesome that we really come back and enjoy this particular part, because we always come here. We come here and do barbecues, and then we come here and have a picnic. But now to really come in and really own it back again, it's going to be, I think it's something that history can never repeat again.
Rotorua Coroner Dr. Wallace Bain, who has strong links to Tūhorangi, said the handbag is a recognition of the revival of the Tūhorangi people.
To this whole region, Mount Tarawera and the eruption is just so important, and living out here, it just dominates your every day when you look at the mountain and when you see the history and what people went through. And I was looking through that wonderful book of Mr. Keames this morning, and all the photos and the Tamu and the Tiwairoa and the families that were there, Tiariki, Rapatu Bay, and what they must have gone through, and the devastation, the most entrepreneurial indigenous people, I think, in the world, with Tūhorangi at that point, with their tours to the pink and white terraces. They lost all of that, then repositioned in at Whakarerewa, and now really building to try and come back and establish that back out here again. And it's just wonderful to be a part of it, and so welcoming. It's just lovely, and it's such a special day.
Flights over New Zealand could be disrupted for days as ash from the Chilean volcanic eruption drifts across the country. The volcano in Chile began erupting earlier this month, with the ash plume drifting thousands of kilometres across the South Atlantic, South Africa, Indian Ocean, Tasmania and now across New Zealand. It's forced the cancellation of more than 60 New Zealand flights and left more than 7,000 passengers stranded over the weekend. However, Air New Zealand to continue flying. Air New Zealand spokeswoman Tracy Mills says the national carrier would continually reassess the situation. She says the company was adjusting flight routes and altitudes to ensure aircraft remained clear of any ash. There is no news on whether Rotorua flights would be affected, but passengers are encouraged to keep in contact with the airline over the next few days. Waikato police are seeking sightings of a gang member with an extensive criminal history who escaped custody from Huntly Police Station last week. Sergeant Neil Moucher said the Mungle Mob member Clayton Veach Wilson was being walked to an escort van at the back of the station on Wednesday night when he managed to escape. Sergeant Moucher says Wilson has an extensive criminal history and currently has 15 active charges out for against him. Anyone with any information on Wilson's whereabouts is asked to contact the Huntly Police. Bay of Plenty Regional Council has included a number of funding requests to its annual plan budget and referred others to its 10-year plan process for further consideration following public deliberations last week. The Council has agreed to fund a one-off $600,000 amount to cover the additional cost of local authority insurance premiums as a result of the Christchurch earthquakes. An additional $2.3 million loan will be sought for capital works on the region's major river schemes to cover additional works as a result of flooding. Other items to be included in the annual plan to be approved later this month can be viewed at the Regional Council's website. The annual plan goes to the full Council for final adoption next week. In sport tonight, Rugby World Cup 2011 will see many men taking to Rotorua International Stadium's #1 ground to entertain fans with some hard-hitting world-class rugby. However, more men are required to entertain fans throughout the city during the Rugby World Cup period. Rotorua Entertains is a Rotorua District Council coordinated program offering free workshops in stilt walking, samba, percussion, face painting and salsa as the city gears up to host visitors from around New Zealand and the world. But one question remains: where are all the men? Rotorua District Council Community Arts Officer Kitty Jardin says over 60 locals have already taken up the opportunity to learn something new and a little different from their regular skills, but they are mostly women so far. Anyone, but especially men who are interested in developing skills in salsa, stilting or samba can register for the next set of free workshops by emailing Rotorua Entertains at rdc.govt.nz or by phoning Kitty Jardin at the Rotorua District Council. To your weather, Rotorua and the surrounding area. Tonight, fine southwest breezes easing, overnight a low of 3. Tomorrow Tuesday, fine with westerly breezes, a high of 13 and a low of 6. Outlook for Wednesday, mainly fine southwest winds, a high of 13 and a low of 6. Marine forecast for Lake Rotorua for Tuesday, variable 5 knots becoming southwest 10 knots around midday, then easing to 5 knots in the evening. Waves less than half a metre with fine spells. If you've missed any of tonight's bulletin, you can watch it again by going to tvrotorua.co.nz and click on the View Latest City News link. Or to view what's on in our city, click on the Upcoming Events link. Coming up after the break, we talk about electricity switching with budgeter Pearl Pavitt. Irene Begg talks about compulsory notification and the effects of abuse on children. And I talk with outgoing Environment Bay of Plenty head Bill Bayfield.